Yeah. Kind of turns me to my next project, and I started into it before I started filming, but I'll kind of talk you through it here. This is an old boat trailer. My buddy Will Bauer gave it to me, and the original plan was to just go ahead and load it on backwards. It used to have, you know, the little V capture for the boat, and we were just going to make a little stand for the tail there. But it turns out it's too short, so the wings would have hit the tailgate on the truck. And got talking to a bunch of people who've done a lot of trailering, and if you're going to go long distance, or really the best way to trailer it is nose forward. So the plan is on this, and I know there's a million ways to do this, and I've thought about it and what I have to work with and the supplies and everything. This is how I'm going to do it. So I'm sure you guys all have opinions on a good way to build a trailer, but I'm going to make it so you can drop the tongue to the ground. We're going to load the plane onto the trailer. So just imagine the front of this being on the ground. There will be little ramps coming off this little platform I'm making. They'll fold down, and that's where the main wheels will go. There'll be a center, basically tail wheel support the full length, and then it's going to run all the way back to this extension I'm building right now. And then I'm going to build that up a step on it so it comes up to about here, about 3 feet or so. And there'll be a platform up top and a ramp going down for that tail wheel. So you just basically drag it back, tail wheel comes up onto the ramp so that it sits about the way the plane's sitting right now in the garage, which is tail high. And the reason for that is when you fold the wings, that pivoting that weight puts a lot of weight on the back of the plane. So if you lower the tail down to the tail dragger position, it's putting a lot more weight on that tail than it would be with the wings not folded. So that could potentially put too much weight and bend the longeron. So if you raise that tail, it helps put some of that weight on the forward contact points of the forward tires. So that's why we're going to elevate the tail wheel. And the other reason is you don't have to worry about draining out the fuel if you have the tail high. If you don't, and the tail's low when you fold the wings, because the fuel cap, I don't know if anyone's ever talked about this, but the fuel tank ends about right here, and the fuel cap's on the outward edge. I really wish it was on the inward edge. There's probably a reason for it. I don't know what it is. But because it's out here, when you swing the wing and the wing drops down lower, all the fuel comes up and runs out the breather tube on the fuel cap. There is a modification to a non-breather cap and then do a breather line somewhere else. I haven't really looked at that as an option, but the best way to solve that is to just raise the tail when you fold the wings with fuel in it. The other thing that helps is you can load it on the trailer with the wings out in this position, get the tail high, and then you can fold the wings with the tail high, because that's a lot easier. So if you lower the tail and you pull that pin, the wing wants to swing on you. If I pull the pin right now, it doesn't really want to move, and I can just slowly push the wing to the closed position. So a lot of good reasons why you want the tail elevated, plus it levels the horizontal for trailering, for being on the trailer when you are cruising down the highway. The other reason I want to have it facing forward is that way the wind will be blowing against the windshield. When you have it backwards, you have to take the turtle deck off to fold the wings because the flaperons go in that space. So the turtle deck comes out. Then if you're towing it backwards, all the wind and potentially rain or whatever is going to blow right into the cockpit, right onto your nice, really expensive panel. So that's another reason I'm not too excited about towing it backwards. I've got this platform cut. Now I'm working on basically how I'm going to fill the platform, whether we do wood or which supports or whatever go in there. So I'm still working on that. I'm cutting the extensions for back here. I went with pretty thick angle, and I'll bring another piece across the back to close that out. There's not gonna be a whole lot of weight back here, you know, because the weight on the tail is only 71 pounds with it not folded. Folded, it's gonna increase to, you know, maybe 100, 150 pounds on that tail. So, but here's my supply of metal. I may have bought too much because I'm almost done cutting the pieces. I guess making that platform is going to use a bunch of it, and then all these smaller ones right here are for the ramps that will lead up for the front tire platform. So anyway, I would have loved to really custom this thing out, and I may do it later on. But when I started pricing out metal, holy cow, is metal expensive right now. I mean, just this steel I got here to do this was $480. I was fairly shocked at what steel costs right now. Maybe it's always been like that, but last time I built the trailer, I think I built the whole thing with the axles for like 800 bucks. Anyway, so that's the trailer plan. I'll do a little bit of time lapse with it. I know it's not the airplane build, but it is part of solving the problem of getting it out of the garage and down to the airport. So I know some people just go ahead and flatbed it down, get somebody to pay somebody to haul it down to the airport, because it may just be a one-time thing. But since I have the trailer, I've got a little bit of time, I'm just going to go ahead and make something that I can move this around. Then if I ever need to bring it home to do some work on it, you know, welding work or whatever, I don't have to try to do that down at the hangar. I can just throw it on the trailer, bring it back home. So anyway, that was a long explanation for what's going on here. All right, update on the trailer, getting going here on day 2. So, got the front platform, so I'll weld it up and on. The rear extension's done and welded. So again, extending from here back. I tacked the 2 angles together to form the tail wheel channel. And then I've got the pieces cut over here that are going to make the stand to elevate that up higher. So that's what I got to get in today, is basically work out this back section with the winch mount and the rail. Then put supports in for the channel off of these cross beams. And then I also need to do the supports for the wheels on the rectangle up here, and then the ramps. And then I got a bottle jack that I'm going to try to use to jack the tongue up high enough to drop the wheel down, or at least get something under it. So I don't have to carry a floor jack around, but we'll see if that works. I don't know if it's going to be long enough. So that's the progress as of yesterday. I got everything cut and most of this welded. Now I just need to finish it up. So the goal is to get it done by the end of the day, not painted, but done. Then I'll have to do paint and wiring. I have to extend the taillights over here, need to be brought to the back. So I'll have to extend out those taillights and then run the wiring for the winch all the way back here. So a lot to do, but it needs to be done by the end of the day. So I'm going to be at it until I can get it done, because I'd like to mock load it tomorrow. All right, we're getting there. Got maybe another day or two to finalize the trailer. I still have to do wood in the ramps. My son Carter helped me with the cutting the wood for the platforms, so that looks pretty good. And we're going to fasten that down, probably with some eyelet bolts, so they have a tie down spot as well. And the winch mounts in, everything's been painted except for where I just worked on it, so I'm going to haul it back over to the side of the property where I can paint without getting paint everywhere. Get that stuff painted. Then I'm back at work tomorrow for a week, so it's really close. Really, I just need to finish the ramps and a couple tie down points. I'm going to put a backstop on the platform right in this area here, so the wheel can't roll too far. So I got to figure that out, and a way to figure that out is pretty much just to put the plane up there, figure out where it needs to go, mark it, and then weld it, I guess. I'll move the plane back off, I don't know. I could measure it with the distance between the tail wheel and the platform, but to get it dead on so that it sits right, I want to put the plane on there to do it. So I also need to get new tires for it. These look okay, but the sidewall on this one is totally cracked. That was flat when I went to move the trailer originally. So before it gets the plane put on, I'm going to take it down, put new tires on it, check the wheel bearings, make sure everything's ship shape so we don't have any issues while towing the plane. All right, so quick update on the trailer. Ready to finish this thing up. So I got the ramps done. What these will do is they'll fold up, and then pinch the tire. I've got tie downs there and there, and the tire will go in the middle. Made it so these pieces of wood are removable. So after I load it, I'll pull those out. That way I'm not pushing those through the air. They'll come out and go in the back of the truck. Just for safety's sake, I got new tires. Well, not safety's sake, the old ones are crap, so they were completely shot. So new tires. And then I pulled the hubs. See what the old hubs look like. And the races were pretty shot. So it wasn't much more just to do a whole new hub. So replacing all new bearings, races, hub, packed with grease and new lug nuts. So all that will be new. So it was one of those things where you start down the road thinking that it'd be a quick project, and that way I wouldn't have to rely on renting a trailer or a flatbed truck come out and move the plane. In reality, I probably wouldn't have gone this route again, because I think I'm into it for quite a bit of money now. It is a cool trailer. I put the winch on it. It's all customed out for the Kitfox. I think I've got about 1,500 bucks into it now, which is a lot more than I was planning originally. Budget was about 500 on it, so overshot that a bit. So anyway, but it will be something that's, it's not a fee that I have to pay. I get to keep it, so it will be available to move the plane around when I need to. So anyway, that's an update. I'm gonna get these wheels on, and then the last thing I really need to do is the electronics on the trailer don't work. So I've got these lights back here. They need to be moved to the back of the trailer, and then I need to fix the wiring so that they work. If I'm sure I can get it down to the airport without worrying about that, but that is something that will need to be done. So I don't know if I'll pull those or just get a different set that I can put on the back and just leave those in place. But it's pretty much painted. I had to grind off some of the paint for the tie downs, so I got to hit those with some paint. But I'm hoping to load it tomorrow with the plane right here in the driveway. Plane's all set. One thing I need to do with the plane is hook up the transport kit, and I started to do that and it doesn't fit. So I know you guys have seen the transport kit. It's these yellow bars down here, but they connect up here to the wing strut point, and then this hole that goes through the tail, and they don't line up, so you can't stick the bolt through the hole. It's at an angle. So those need to be modified. I don't know why they wouldn't fit. I mean, you pay good money for a transport kit and then it doesn't fit. The other one goes up here and then supports back down to the wing bracket. Actually, this hole right here is where it mounts in there. And that just gives a little support. Said you really only need to do it if you have fuel in it, but you can see how much that moves. So I'm gonna put those supports on as well for trailering. Ran into an issue with the shock being overloaded when the wings are swung back, because you increase the tail weight from 71 pounds to 205 by swinging those wings back there. So I had to take the shock off and put this kind of lockout piece of steel in there so that it didn't collapse the shock. And then we're gonna take that shock and put a limiter in it so that when it does collapse all the way up, it limits the travel. So that's something we're still working on there. So we've got it on the trailer. Honestly, that's probably the most nerve-wracking part I've had so far. I've got like triple redundant tied down. The next thing I gotta figure out is how to tie down the prop, because more than likely that's gonna windmill with the fact that it has the sprag clutch in there. You can just spin it. It's probably gonna spin going down the road. So I'd like to take care of that. Other than that, it's on the trailer. Trailer design worked out, looks like. Everything lined up good. Got it fastened, transport kit's all bolted down, and a couple wrenches back there to grab. And we're gonna jack up the front, hook it up to the truck, and at least get it down to my hangar today. That was about the most nerve-wracking 10 minutes of my life. Too fast. They say too fast. I had to test it. Did great. Super nervous to get it down here, but it's at the airport. And we're gonna go ahead and get the wings swung open and then unload it. So, phase 1 complete. Off the trailer. I think we got that on one of the cameras at its new home. The whole family out today helping. That's the new home for the Kitfox. Alright guys, so the Kitfox is here at its new home at Benton Airport. The trailer was awesome. It worked just as planned. Had the whole family. My mom and dad came down for the week, and so they pitched in. My kids and my wife, everybody got involved in getting it on the trailer safely here to the airport. And it all worked out really well. The only thing I'm going to change is the winch on it was not strong enough to winch the plane up onto the trailer. It said it was a 2,000 pound winch, and it can't even pull 826 pounds. So I'll have to change that out on there so I can load it myself without having a bunch of people push it up onto the trailer. So little fix there. I did start doing the ground runs and immediately ran into an issue with a vibration. And after one phone call, it was solved. The propeller, when they sent them out, they got out of sequence with the serial numbers, and I ended up getting two mismatched blades. So one blade's heavier than the other. We weighed them and it was off. They can only be off by 1 gram, or they like to see it off by 1 gram or less. And it was off by 60 grams. So they were definitely mismatched. So they found the correct one. They're sending it out. It'll be a little delay on the first flight. So I'm waiting for that blade to come in. So the next video we'll get into the first flight. I know you guys are anticipating that. I am as well. But this one was a success to get the airplane here to the hangar. We'll do the ground runs and the taxi tests here. Then we're going to load it on the trailer again and then take it to either Red Bluff or Reading Municipal, where there is a larger runway and more safety landing spots around the airport. Benton here is pretty congested, and like to avoid having to do the first flight here if possible. So that's the plan. Appreciate you guys watching to the end here. Hit the subscribe button and the like button. You also hit that little bell notification if you want to know when the next video is posted. And leave a comment if you have any questions or comments. I always enjoy reading those. And stay tuned for the next one.